All right, well, we are going to get started. I think that I know everybody in the room here, but just to reintroduce myself, my name is Amy Bergstrom. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Programming and Marketing Leadership Advisor within the Center for Leadership and Service. Welcome to our second Thunderbird Thursday of the 2020-2021 academic year. The leadership topic we will be exploring today is values-based leadership. And before we begin, we would really appreciate it if you checked in. Most of you know the drill by now. You can find the link in the chat to our check-in form. I also, just to start off, I want to acknowledge that this has been an emotional week for a lot of us. So I just want to thank you for making the choice to join us here today and trust us with your time and learning experience. We encourage you to take care of yourself in the ways that you need to. And although this workshop is not focused specifically on the events of this week, I'm hopeful that the concepts of exploring your values and how you lead from them might be helpful as we process the week. So I also wanted to share some tips to enhance today's program experience. We ask that you keep yourselves muted to limit background noise interruptions unless you're invited to speak by a presenter or if it's a designated discussion time. We also know that Zoom fatigue is real, that you are choosing to join us for this event from your own space, and that technology can add some challenges, but we also still want to connect and build community with all of you, and we know that it's easier to do that when we can see each other. So if you're able to do so, we would love for you to have your camera on during the event, but especially during the time when we're in breakout rooms. So it's really helpful in building community in those discussion spaces if you're able to see each other. If you have any questions during the event, please use the chat feature. And of course, also use the chat feature to connect with others in the event. As you heard at the beginning, this program is being recorded and it will be available on the CLS YouTube page probably in a few weeks. It takes me a little while to caption it all, but it'll get up there eventually. I'm going to hand it to Gio to do our land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Amy. We would now like to collectively take a moment to acknowledge all Indigenous and First People of the land and space in which we live and breathe. For our community at Highland College, we recognize that we are on occupied Duwamish, Coast Salish, Muckleshoot, and Puyallup lands, and we want to thank all relations and tribes today as we prepare to hold space as a community. You recognize that all of us are joining this conversation from different areas, so we also want to invite you to reflect and thank Indigenous and First People of the land and spaces in which you are coming from. And then we'll just have our LPT do our introductions.
Hi all, it's good to see you today. So my name is Georgia Peary. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the club's program leadership advisor within the Center for Leadership and Service.
And I already introduced myself, but I also wanted to give a shout out to Edwina Fui. She was not able to join us today. She is the Intercultural Center leadership advisor, but she did help us in creating Thunderbird Thursdays, and she's here with us in spirit. So also shouting at Edwina.
Hi y'all, nice to see y'all. My name is Yomar Panalo. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm the mentorship program's leadership advisor. I think I know everyone here except for maybe like Jordan. But hi.
Hey everybody, my name is Malai Lupe Samifua, he, him, his pronouns. I'm the interim international engagement leadership advisor. We're glad to see you all today.
Thanks everybody. So you are here today for Thunderbird Thursday, which is part of the Connect program. And if you haven't participated with us in the Connect program before, the Connect program is our opportunity for students in leadership to connect in leadership across the Highline campus. And throughout this 2020-2021, I'm trying to say that as many times as possible, academic year, we will be offering monthly Thunderbird Thursday workshops. And so these are special leadership workshops that explore a different topic each month and have an opportunity for you to grow your leadership identity and skills through these workshops. And If you participate in at least 5 workshops over the course of the year, you can earn a leadership certificate at the end of the year. You can also participate in a leadership workshop with another department. You just need to log that on our Connect program form. And Georgia, I believe, pasted the link to the Connect program website in the chat. So that has more explanation about the program. It also has the upcoming workshops that we'll be doing, and then the link to the place where you can log your participation. And let us know if you have any questions about the Connect program at any points. Okay, so today's workshop, values-based leadership, we're really going to be focusing on 3 things. The first is just kind of understanding what we mean when we're talking about values-based or value-centered leadership. What exactly is that? And then we will give you a chance to explore your own values, and then finally apply your values to your leadership. So bring it all together. And with that, we want you all, we won't do a full introduction with everyone. I think a lot of you know each other, but just to get us started, in the chat, I would love for you to just write, what is one thing you did this week that made you feel good? So whatever that looks like for you, what's one thing you did to make you feel good this week? Mani Petty, spa day. Nice, Gio. Cooked dinner for my family. That's awesome. What'd you cook, Jordan? Got work done. That's good, Ying. Jordan made spicy tofu curry. Yum. Lupe ate your favorite food? I'm guessing that's what you mean. Made hot chocolate with half and half. Oh my gosh, I missed that. Oh, I gotta do that sometime. If you don't know what we're talking about, we used to be able to get the catering people at campus to make hot chocolate with using milk instead of water, and it was amazing. Sani went to church and joked around with my band members. Nice. Matt learned some more guitar. Samantha got enough sleep. That's so good. I did not do that this week. Noah started listening to Christmas music. I was just telling some people that I'm typically a not until after Thanksgiving person, but this 2020 might turn me on that. I might have to get started on Christmas music early this year. Amazing. All right. Well, feel free to continue adding if you have something fun something that made you feel good this week. But then other than that, we will get started. So Lupe.
All right. Hey, everyone. Before I go into my section, I just wanted to sing a little Michael Jackson for you. So the words are on the screen, and it's taken from his song, Man in the Mirror. And it's the chorus. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could ever been any clearer. If you want to make a world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. Oh my gosh, that was super nerve-wracking. Just wanted to break the ice. For a lot of you, this is your first time having me present, and this is a privilege and honor to be here. The first slide here is talking about self-reflection, and I feel like in order for you to really be a good leader, you have to be able to look at yourself and like know what are your strengths and what are some things that you can improve on. And so that's why I wanted to share that song with us. If we can go to the next slide. And we're also going to be talking about like our mission statement. So what is my core mission? So when we're thinking about what that is, we want to be asking ourselves, like, what are our values? What are the things that matter most to you? For example, you might think that honesty is the most important thing to you, hard work, equity, creativity. Something else to keep in mind is, why do I care? Also be mindful, like, how do my values help others? And what is the sort of impact that I can make? These are all things that we want to be thinking about when we create a mission statement. And right now we're going to go into a short video, so about a couple of minutes, and the person sharing is going to be talking about how to create the perfect mission statement. Go ahead and play.
I want to show you why most mission statements are so terrible. So let's say that you own a chain of pizza parlors, and maybe you have a mission statement that you've drafted, and it says something like, "Our mission is to serve the tastiest damn pizza in Wake County." Now that's pretty good, if you ask me. If I was one of your employees, I could get excited about that. But here's where things go off the rails. So you invite all your colleagues to come join you and to help you wordsmith this thing, and you all sit around a table, and right in front of your eyes, a transformation happens. All of these people who you like and respect suddenly become 10th grade English teachers and begin to nitpick every word of this thing.
Hey, I really like the word present better than serve. It has a nice resonance.
We obviously can't say damn. And why limit ourselves to Wake County?
And guys, I know our pizza is good, but what about the calzones and the salads? Why don't we just say highest quality Italian food?
Our Greek salad isn't Italian.
We haven't even talked about the atmosphere yet, the big comfy booths and the kids' birthday parties and all that.
Yeah, great point. You know what we're really doing here? We're providing a family entertainment solution.
Yeah, solution.
Nailed it.
And everyone's excited now. You're almost there. And then Steve at the end of the table pipes up.
Listen, guys, we haven't mentioned anything about integrity. That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, integrity.
And is anyone at the table going to rise up and go to the mat against the word integrity being in the mission statement? Doubtful. So presto, that's in. And now here's your new and improved mission statement. Our mission is to present with integrity the highest quality entertainment solutions to families. I know this is a little bit silly, but you got to admit, this is what 99% of mission statements sound like. And now you know why. There's this cycle of making words more ambiguous and more fancy until all of the meaning leaches out. Here's how to avoid that. 2 tips. Number 1, use concrete language. Great example comes from this fast-growing small business called Sonic Bids. Check this out. We want to help musicians get gigs and promoters book the right bands. We're a bunch of people who think that music can truly change the world and make it smaller and better. Now, I love that. I think it gives you a picture of exactly what they do and also gives you a hint why they might want to do that. And that brings us to the second point, which is talk about the why. Most mission statements are really long on statement and really short on mission. And the whole point of this is to talk about why you're doing what you do. You've got to talk about what makes you care. So let me give you a famous example from Johnson & Johnson. This is the first line in their credo. Our first responsibility is to the doctors, nurses, and patients, mothers and fathers, and all others who use our products and services. Well, all right. That's something that you could get out of bed to go do. Now contrast that with the guiding principles of ExxonMobil. Did you feel that? A little part of your soul just died reading that mission statement. So now you've seen why bad mission statements happen to good people, and I've given you 2 tips for avoiding that fate. If you're interested in learning more about writing a great mission statement, go to fastcompany.com/Heath. And in the meantime, I want to challenge you to do the impossible, to create a mission statement that says something. And one final hint, if it includes the word solution in it, you're not there yet. Thanks for watching.
All right, thanks Amy for playing the video. Just really quickly, that video was particularly about writing a mission statement for a business or a company, but I feel like the same thing can be applied for your own personal mission statement. We really want to be mindful of what things really matter to us the most and not allowing others to change that branding. And here, our pro staff, we're not here to tell you how you should brand yourself. We're just here to encourage you to how can you be the most genuine self. And so we're going to go to Georgia, who's going to share more about our pillars and talk about our values.
All right, thanks, Lupe. And so as we start the discussion on what your values are, we don't really want to just tell you, okay, now you're going to explore your values without giving a little example or evidence on how we already do that as an office. We wouldn't want to be giving you this presentation if we, didn't believe in values-based leadership. And an example of how the center, does operate through values-based leadership is we have our values stated. And unfortunately, we aren't on campus, but if we were on campus in our office, you could see these above all of the pro staff's doors. And so I'm going to go through all of them, just give a little tidbit and then maybe some examples of how you can see these values acted out through like our programs and how we support students and form our community. So first, community, pretty straightforward, but really when we dive into it, we've stated that it's that we all deserve to authentically connect with other people. And at the center, we promote this connection and community into all that we do. And so a little like concrete example of that is you'll see in every beginning of our programs, maybe we call it an icebreaker, maybe we call it a community builder, maybe we call it a check-in. But it's not just to like check a box. Amy was actually asking, what is one thing that made you happy this week? And that was a genuine way to create community before we got started with this program. Social justice, a word that, we all know gets tossed around a lot, but how do we actually define that as one of our values? It's with our community. And when I say our community, that includes every one of you in this Zoom room right now. So we work to not only expose our student leaders and the students that engage in our programs, but also all of our staff. We all expose ourselves to different perspectives, but we are also equipping you all with the tools to become social change agents. A concrete example of that is we're exposing you all to what values-based leadership is. And we're asking you to go through these exercises and at the end, maybe have those core values, written on a piece of paper. And that is a tool that you can then take with you as you are a social change agent in your family, in your community, in whatever groups that you are a part of. Legacy. So with this value, we really want to say that we understand that we couldn't be doing the work that we're doing every day without the people that came before us that also put in the work. An example, these literal values. So like the staff that is presenting to you right now, we weren't actually a part of when these values got defined for the office. But when we chose to be a part of this office, we also adopted them. And we wouldn't have chosen to be a part of this office if we didn't already have these values as our own personal values too. And so with our students, with you all in the room, we also challenge you all to think about what do you want to leave behind? You're not going to be at Highline forever. And so what do you want to be remembered as when you do leave Highline? And that's a piece of the legacy that we want you to take with you. Next would be transformative leadership. And so with transformative leadership, while we're challenging you to be social change agents, we want you to do that through your authentic voice. We're not asking you to like change how you think. We're not asking you to change how you speak and how you operate through the world. We want you to bring your full selves because that teaches other people that they can bring their full selves into the rooms and the groups that they are a part of. And that creates positive change. The more you're exposed to different perspectives and different ways of doing things, the better this world is. And so that's how we want you to like operate through transformative leadership. And that's how we operate through transformative leadership. You'll see that even as staff, we do all things differently. We all have our own way of doing things. And so that's one way that we transformatively lead. Next, we would have inclusion. Also another word that you might assume you already know the meaning and you might be like, oh, I know how they do inclusion, it's okay. But we want to teach ourselves and our students to honor the diversity and identities, not only at Highline, but wherever they call home and what their community is. And so this is always done through culturally responsive programming and ways of supporting students. And then lastly, I really always want to say this one for last, is sustainable excellence. And so we believe in our student leaders and in ourselves as showing up as your best self and showing up as your authentic self, but we also acknowledge that that can be really hard. I think a great example is showing up this week. It was really hard for me to like even open my computer yesterday. I was like, this is hard. I don't want to answer an email. I don't want to respond to a message. It was like the mental stress of the election like affected my physical body. But knowing that sustainable excellence is a part of the office that I work in, I knew it was okay for me to not, answer every email and respond to every message from everyone, because if I did, it wouldn't have been showing up as my full self. So I need to take care of my body. And that's also, you'll see that if you have the pleasure of working in our office, or you've had the pleasure of interacting with one of our leadership advisors, you know that we're going to check in with you not only as students, but as humans, you know. So that's why props to Samantha for getting the sleep that she needs. That is living through sustainable excellence. So I just wanted to go over these really quick. This is how we kind of, walk our talk. We're not going to say you all should be leading through your values if we already didn't do it ourselves. So just a little snippet on that. And we can go to the next slide. All right. So when we're thinking about values-based leadership, I think it's really easy for us to immediately be like, okay, what are my values? But maybe a little bit more creative and fun way to do that first, to explore what kind of different values are there. I want you all to think about, you can do either one or you can do both, whatever you feel. Think about your favorite fictional character. So this could be from a movie, this could be from your favorite book series, from a play that you really like. Think of that person. What do you think is this character's top 3 values? And I also want to premise this of like, when we think of values, we think of the admiral values, like honesty, integrity, all great things. I'm not bashing honesty and integrity. But I think it's also okay if, one of your favorite characters is someone who's kind of the villain, and we can explore like what their values are. So an example I shared with LPT before was, if anyone's a Batman fan, what do you think the top 3 values are of the Joker? And if that is like one of your favorite characters, that's totally cool. So either in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, think about like if you want to share with your favorite fictional character and maybe what you think their top 3 values are. If you're not super into the fictional character exercise, think about your favorite person. Again, fictional, or they could be real. This could be your mom. I love my mom. And then think about, how does this person approach decision making? So you can do either one of those. If you're more comfortable in the chat, use the chat, and I'm going to read off some. Or if you want to unmute yourself, this can be an open discussion. Also, I'll give my example first. So I don't know if has anyone watched Friday Night Lights? Does anyone know the show Friday Night Lights? Am I speaking to... Oh, no one? All right, well, if you want a little intro into some West Texas football, you should watch some Friday Night Lights. It's a really good show from the 2000s. So one of my favorite characters from that show, her name's Tammy Taylor. Matt has, thank you, Matt. And when I was thinking about her character, she's a mom, she's a guidance counselor, she's a really integral, she's also the coach's wife. She's a really integral part of the show and kind of like the moral compass of the show as a character. And so her top 3 values, what I would say would be family/community, integrity, and compassion. She's really compassionate to all her students that she interacts with, no matter where they are in life, and she meets them where they're at. And so that is some values that I really like. I'm not saying I also hold all of those values, but that's my fictional character. She's one of my favorites. So I don't know if anyone's ready to share yet.
I can share mine, Georgia. Um, a fictional character that I truly admire is the professor from Money Heist. I'm not sure if anyone watched Money Heist here, but that show is just so brilliant. But just thinking about, I think like his values are being ambitious. Like he's very ambitious about like the task that they're doing. Intelligent, the way he does the task, it's well thought out, and also readiness. So every time he has a plan B to a plan B, pretty much, you know. So that's why I love I love the professor. So that's one character that I admire.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge that this is, it's tough. I think when I asked a friend, like not that I work with, I was like, is this like a question that he said he's a big movie person. And he's like, oh, I never really think about individual characters. He thinks about like the moral of the story or like what the movie's trying to teach a person. I'm sorry I ask hard questions, but we are challenging each other. And so I know it's a struggle, but here's the thing, maybe it doesn't be your favorite character, but what is that first character that came to mind? Again, going back, they don't have to be the hero. They don't have to be the main character. I'll put out there, if everyone's seen Frozen, what do you think Olaf's 3 values are?
Olaf, loyal. I appreciate that question, Georgia, because we got a sneak peek. We got to think about it for a little bit. And I was thinking about, like, I think it's interesting to think about the values of an individual. So I was thinking about Jo March from Little Women, and I was like, she was my favorite just all growing up, and trying to think of like, but why, right? Like, what were her values? So I think family is for sure one for her, and then I would say independence and creativity. And I was like, oh, because it's such an interesting challenge too, because if you don't know that story, I'm not going to dive the whole thing, but she really values who she is as an individual, but she really, really values her family, and those things come in conflict sometimes. So, but I like the Olaf, loyal and friendships I see in there.
Yeah, we've said, Saini said that one of Olaf's values is loyal, Gio said friendship, and then Gio also added, if summer can be a value, summer would be a value for Olaf. I totally agree with that. Lupe put in there Harry Potter, so he thinks that some of Harry Potter's values are resilience, curiosity, and loyalty. As a Harry Potter fan, I agree with you, Lupe. Tessa said, I like the Baron from Miyazaki's Whisper of the Heart. I think he is trustworthy, non-judgmental, and helpful. I need to watch that. Alona said, I have a lot of favorite characters, but what I like about them is honesty, caring, and dignity. So Alona took it a little different way, which is I totally support. She thought more of what are the values that she already values, and then what character matches that in the things that she's already watched. And then we have, Bob Ross. That's a good one. Being present, patience. The trees. I feel like trees would be in there somehow. He values nature. So feel free to keep putting things in the chat. Happy trees. That's right. It's always happy trees. Betty, since I just finished The Handmaid's Tale, can't really choose one of the women, but the women that would risk themselves to protect and save, for sure. Also, someone who's watched The Handmaid's Tale, yeah, definitely. Like ferocity, is that how I pronounce that? Like being ferocious and brave for the sake of their own. SpongeBob, this is a great example. SpongeBob, thank you, Jordan. Friendship, laughter, and mastering his craft. So aka fry cooking at the Krusty Krab. Another great example. And then Ying says, I have a lot of characters, and sometimes it is real on the TV show and a fictional character. It can be on TV, or it can be on TV and it says the character in the book. So Ying, it sounds like you have a lot of characters you have in mind. Is there a single character that comes to mind when you're thinking about your favorite character?
It's like when SpongeBob, like he works like 8 hours a day he works his butt off at the Krusty Krab, and like Squidward like deal with customers like SpongeBob to give food to customers. Like he had to work his butt off because Eugene Krabs managed this Krusty Krab because he owned it, but he wants Squidward and SpongeBob to get to work and stuff.
Yeah, so he's like a hard worker. That could be maybe one of his values.
Yeah. On the Cloud 9, Dove Cameron, she plays in Luke Bernard. They play Will and Caleb, and then they broke something, and they got punishment. They have to go work at some dog street, take the dog out. So they broke something. They had to pay for it. It's a movie called Cloud 9. They broke. I don't know what it's called. They work at some pets store or something. If we take the dog out, they go to work every day to get that paid, to get paid and get their paycheck and pay for that damage and stuff. Like I wouldn't be that character that I wouldn't be the character that I would be in the Cloud9 movie. I would be a character that I would be working on stuff with.
Thanks, Ying. It sounds like that character maybe though was honest that they made a mistake, and so that could be another value of that character. But thanks for sharing, Ying.
Okay.
I did want to just wrap up, and this could be also something you can answer in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and answer this question. But how do you think approaching values affects decision making? So when you're leading from your values, how do you think that affects how you make decisions? This could be really small decisions or larger decisions. So why does it make a difference leading from values, or what type of values you lead from? I think going back to, this is a very dramatic example, but going back to, what values influences Batman and what values influence the Joker. And we see how they make decisions differently and what decisions they make. And so what is the difference between leading from values as opposed to not leading from your values? In the chat, Jordan said, when you lead with values, you influence those who follow your leadership to instill the same values. I think that's a great example. You almost, if you're leading through those values, they can see it in action. And then if they admire you and they admire those values, they want to follow. That's a great example, Jordan. Thank you. It looks like Maya is answering the question before. And so Maya would say, I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce these names. I'm going to try my best. Moo Myung and Han Sung are my fave characters from that show because of the way they make decisions in life and death situations. One of them actually died in the show, and their decisions are based on doing the greater good to save others, even when they could have been put in danger. James says, it makes a difference when you're leading from your values because you positively approach a certain decision, you're more likely to make a good choice than when you're negatively approaching it. That's a really great way of saying that, James. Almost if you know you're going with the why, and you know your why is a well-intentioned and good, your outcome will hopefully be good. So I'm gonna stop there. I want to give you all enough time to work with Amy in her next activity, which will be more introspective, and we'll go through how you develop your own values. And so, but if you want to keep answering these questions, feel free to put them in the chat. So I'm going to hand it over to Amy.
Thank you so much, Georgia. I think it is so helpful, like you were saying, to think about others first and how you might look at their examples of how they lead and all of that. So we are going to have a chance to explore your own values. So the first thing you're going to do is Georgia's going to share a link to a document in the chat. So open that document. You can view it, but you won't be able to edit it. And then you need your own piece of paper, or you can just open another Google Doc or a notes on your phone, whatever works best for you. And just go through that list and write every value that resonates, that you connect with. So you can do as many of them as you want to. So just go through the list and put on your personal list all the values that you connect with. And if there are words that are not on the list, but you think are really important, feel free to add those words as well. And at this point, you're just going through and making a list of words. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes. So don't worry about overthinking it at this point. Are there any questions though before you start that activity? Okay. I will give you a 1-minute warning, but go ahead. Okay, I'm going to give you the next set of instructions. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take the list that you made and group the words. So group all of the similar words into a maximum of 5 groupings and group them however makes sense to you. So Georgia and I could have the exact same words, but we might group them in different ways. So whatever way makes sense to you, group those words. And there's an example at the bottom of the screen of like one way that someone might have grouped some of their words together. And I'm going to give you a little bit longer because the grouping, you might have some extra reflection there. So I'll give you about 7 minutes for the grouping. And as always, if you have questions in the chat, go ahead. Sorry, I got all distracted trying to find another song to play. Okay, final step. You have your 5 groupings now. Now you're going to choose one word from within each group, or you could also pick another word that's not in the group, but you feel like summarizes the group as a representation of that group. So again, the examples below, they chose freedom as sort of the summary of the first 4 words, and then making a difference for acceptance, compassion, inclusiveness, and etc. So pick a word or choose another word that summarizes your groupings. And this one shouldn't take you as long unless you need to creatively think. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes for that. I had to stop before we got too deep into that song. It's very powerful. It would have kept going for 4 more minutes, but okay. Hopefully you had a good time doing a little introspection, thinking about Disney songs about reflection, you know. So these 5 words you chose, we're going to go ahead and call them your core values. Now, recognizing that this is just a start, so you may look at them and go, oh, these are not my 5 core values, but this exercise is just a chance for you to really get a sense of what your values are, and they can also change over time. So you might have a set right now, and then in a year from now, you might be like, this actually feels more important to me, and this one is maybe a secondary value, but not my core value. And so now I would love if a couple of you would be willing to share what your 5 core values are, and you can again post them in the chat, or I also would invite you to unmute yourself to share your core values. Tessa says contribution, excellence, balance, and resilience. Amazing, thank you.
For me, my first one was freedom, and that was kind of in the category of like leadership, making a difference, advocacy, and I'm like, why am I advocating for my community? And I feel like that kind of led to like, I want freedom for all of us, so that was the one I chose in the first category. The second category was kind of like work, like ethics or professionalism and stuff like that. So I chose passion because if I'm working and I don't have a passion, then it's really not going to be a fun time. And I really need that passion if I'm going to work. And then like also a part of work was wealth. Like I could be really passionate about something, but like what if I can't make a living off of it? So even though like wealth can kind of sound like not really deep, but honestly in our world we do need to have some sort of wealth to kind of keep ourselves going and living. And I was kind of stuck between the word balance or well-being because I need balance in order to have a good well-being, so that was difficult for me to choose. And then loyalty was another one I chose for like friends and family section.
Awesome. Thank you, Maya. That was great. I've also seen a bunch coming in the chat, so I'll just read those. Jordan said appreciation, relationships, growth, and well-being. Matt said freedom, strength, growth, and wise. James said teamwork, professionalism, leadership, ethics, and consistency. Jonathan said well-being, risk-taking, happiness, brilliance, and knowledge. Alona said acceptance, ambitions, mindfulness, community, and quality. Noah said family, kindness, freedom, and creativity. Also, I know some of you, and so it's really interesting to read these and be like, oh, I see that in you. I see that in you. I see that in you. Yang says appreciation and excellence. That's great. I love reading all of your values and thinking about how you are already living them out. But in order to give you a chance to think about this even more, and actually I really appreciated, Maya, what you shared about how you apply that into your specific life, because the next thing we're going to do is we are going to go into breakout rooms. And in your breakout room, I want you to talk with the others about how do you or could you apply your core values to yourself as a leader. And then also, how do or could your core values apply to how you lead? And I asked those two separately questions because I think one is like who you are, and then one is how you act in the world. And Georgia put those in the chat, so those should go with you to the breakout rooms. And you're going to have about 15 minutes in the breakout room. Actually, let me make sure I did that. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I'm going to invite you into the breakout rooms and have a chat about those, and then we'll come back in about 15 minutes. Here we go. Welcome back, room 2. Thanks for joining us. Where'd my chat go? There it is. All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks so much for doing that activity. Hopefully you got some good reflection and good applications from your teammates or from the others in the room with you. And I'm gonna now pass it to Gio to close us out.
Hey, thank you, Amy. So now that you've discussed your values, we're gonna help you visualize it. So earlier, Georgia said that we have our core values kind of posted around the office. So that is like a literally physical reminder of like why we do the things that we do and how do we do them. So if you just go on the website padlet.com/gpnl/LPT values, we're gonna do a community. So pretty much a Padlet is a community wall. So anyone can post there if you have the link. So I'm going to share my screen. Actually, I totally forgot about that. Yeah. Okay, now I can't see anyone. So hopefully y'all are on the link already. So this is it. So I already have one of my value is community. And so I posted a photo that kind of like like represent that. And this is bayanihan from my culture, Filipino culture, where everyone helps someone. So this is literally a house being moved by a community. You know, their neighbors help them literally like move the house. So that is what community to me looks like, and I bring that with me everywhere I go. Now you can post like anything that you want here. You can post a link to a video, a quote, an image, a moving image, GIF, whatever, however you pronounce it. And then for the title, maybe just put what that value is. So here, this is a photo of Bayanihan, and that is community. So we do like 5 minutes, and this will be, it's open for everyone to use. So whenever you need a reminder of your core values and kind of have that image, Like you can always visit this link, and I will keep this forever open, I guess. And you can like and comment too on others whatchamacallit, on others' posts. So someone wrote laughter, creativity. What does that look like to you? Oh, okay. And I don't know who's posting these things too. So it's totally anonymous. But yeah. So that's what it is. So if you can just like put your values there, that'll be great. What does your value looks like in action or in images, in videos? Okay, maybe a couple more minutes. Oh my gosh, my photos is not uploading. What is going on? Hello, internet.
That was a picture from Thunderbird training. Jill.
What is it, Ying?
That was a picture from the Thunderbird training.
Which one?
The one I saw on the one you saw.
I'm not sure I'm seeing what you're seeing. Oh, okay, I see it now. I think.
Maybe screenshot this.
Yes, you did. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen again, and we're just gonna talk about what we have here. Let's see. So I'm not gonna talk about each and all of it, but I'm gonna like pick and choose, I guess. So I like appreciation over there. We have DJ Khaled. I can just hear in his voice. The well-being, definitely, I think that's very important. Kind of ties into sustainable excellence. There is 8 dimension of well-being, so definitely practice that. Great. Inclusivity is over there too. Ooh, growth. Okay, I don't know who put that there, but I like it. Consistency and versus randomness. Okay, okay. Relationship. I'm really big on relationship. That's actually one of my values too. So let's see that. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this. Wait, whoa, where is everyone? You would think I would know how to use Zoom. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing screen. Okay. Thank you, y'all. That was great. I like seeing like your vision of the values that you have. So I'll keep this open, and whenever you need a reminder, just go to this website, this link, and it'll be there for you. And it's nice to share that with others too. But yeah, so I will pass on the baton or the microphone to, I think it's Amy.
Yeah. That is oh, sorry. I'm trying to navigate all my screens. Okay. That brings us to the end of our workshop. Actually, I'm going to do the last slide next. Just so you all know, our next Thunderbird Thursday workshop will be on self and community care, and that is the first Thursday of December, which is December 3rd. Same bat time, different bat location, but it'll be on Zoom. We'll just say that from 2:30 to 4. So we hope you'll join us for that workshop as well. But that brings us to the end. And so we just wanted to offer a chance if anybody had any questions about anything that we did or follow up or anything like that. So this is, space for questions. I'm going to stop sharing because you don't actually need to see a slide that says questions. Anything anybody needs? If not, we will wrap it up. I will play us out. Amazing. Well, thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate you being here, and take care of yourselves, and we will see you soon.
All right. I'll
Bye,
see you
guys.
all soon.